We're here on this beautiful spring morning out in the trails. We're here to ask, do you really need a full-size truck anymore? With us today, we've got the mid-size Toyota Tacoma and the Ford Ranger. We're also here to answer which of these two mid-size pickups is the better buy. Clayton, what are you standing next to?
I am standing next to an army green Toyota Tacoma, and that is a very blue Ford Ranger. Both are mid-size trucks, both are quad cab configuration, both have short beds, both have four-wheel drive, both have annoying running boards that I don't like, but we'll get into more of that later, but they're not entirely similar.
They're not. Under the hood in the Toyota is a V6 mated to Toyota's ancient but well-proven 6-speed automatic. In the Ford here, we have a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbo that's paired with Ford's 10-speed automatic. The Tacoma here is one step up from base. The Ranger here is the current top trim Tremor package.
Which means there is a price difference between these two cars as you see them, but as we'll explain a little bit more, you could get a more affordable version of the Ranger. You could also get a more expensive and capable version of the Tacoma if you wanted. So there's a price difference, but that's really just because of the specs of the two cars we have here.
At the end of the day, what we really want to assess are the bones of these two trucks. What makes them great as they are and what could be improved.
Well, should we hit the trails and find out which is better?
I'm going to take the Ranger.
And I'll take the Taco. It's lunchtime. So we have previously driven these trucks on highways and on city streets, but right now we're driving them on some typical Ontario back roads. These obviously aren't really demanding trails, but you know, it doesn't take a very demanding trail to notice that one of these trucks drives smoother than the other.
And that is the Tacoma. The Ranger has some phenomenal seats here, but the ride it's not as smooth, I'm afraid.
The other thing between the two is in off-road capability. I think we found that they're pretty evenly matched, even though the Tacoma is punching above its weight class, being basically a base model.
Off-road, the pairs seem quite comparable. Despite being a base model, the Tacoma there has proven itself quite capable of pretty much everything the Ranger has here. This thing isn't as comfortable or smooth to begin with, and despite the soft seats, the Ranger is tall, tippy, sways about, and really sort of amplifies any sort of imperfections in the road in a way you might not necessarily expect. Now, those optional Fox shocks, they're great off-road, but that doesn't necessarily translate into on-road comfort.
That is true. I will say that the biggest handicap both these trucks have off-road are hanging low and mounted on the side. They are the side steps, and I am not a fan of them. Although it doesn't matter in a mud pit like this, it's just fine. You know, if you're crawling over rocks and things, they're the very first thing that are going to hit and cause problems. And you know, these aren't that tall of trucks. You know, like it's not like a Raptor or something that's really hard to get into. These are pretty average, and I don't think that I need a side step.
What I did find with the Tacoma, however, is the combination of the high floor that accommodates that tucked-in drivetrain underneath and a low roofline means that when I, at 5'10", step in using the side step, it's very easy for me to bonk my head.
That is true, and that's my biggest gripe with the interior of the Tacoma. Frankly, I like the interior of the Tacoma. It's not fancy, there's a lot of plastics, but this is a pretty affordable pickup truck, and honestly, I expect it. The plastics fit really well, the ergonomics are good. The only problem is that, you know, basically because it's an off-roader, the mechanicals on a Tacoma are tucked up neat against the frame, which is great for sliding against rocks and whatever. The problem is that means that the floor is basically higher than it would be in a regular truck. You know, because all the mechanicals are tucked up, and that means that your legs in the Tacoma are more out in front of you than down under you. You sit more like a car, is how I can best explain it. It's kind of odd, and Elliot, did you also find it to be ergonomically a bit, I don't know, not ideal, I guess?
It's definitely not what I would expect of a truck seating position. It's far less upright. I found myself actually inclined to scoop the seat almost like a sports car. The Ranger, it feels like an F-150.
Definitely, before you buy a Tacoma, you should sit in one and try to drive it for as long as you can because it's a genuinely odd seating position. But otherwise, I think we need to talk about the interior on the Ford, which frankly didn't really impress me.
The Ford feels rather like a Focus. The controls all work, they're in a relatively logical layout. The infotainment leaves something to be desired, as have many of the Fords of late. But it works, it does its job, you know, a second delay is not going to be the end of the world.
You having fun splashing through the puddles?
Oh, I love splashing through the puddles. This thing's great through the puddles. Woo.
These are pretty capable trucks.
So this is not just a base Ranger, this is the Tremor, and for the time being, this is the top trim. What you get with that package for your $5,200 is actually pretty great. You get big wheels and tires, you get Fox bypass shocks in the rear, you get skid plates underneath to protect you when you're crawling over some of the sort of stuff we were doing today. You get cool red accents in the front grille, which I think really make a big difference on this blue truck. And of course you get a sticker package. Everyone loves a sticker package. There are other things. Here on the dash, you'll see this little switch console. It's a great idea. It lets a Ranger buyer wire in whatever auxiliary lights or accessories they want, all with factory switches. It's not great upon closer inspection. You can see here that the plastic is already warped and the edge finish is not great, and that really is sort of reflective of the rest of the interior here. It's fine. It's rather like an economy car, like a Focus, but that's about it.
So in terms of the Tacoma hierarchy, the SR5 Trail is the base trim for the quad cab short bed as we have it. From there you can get TRD off-road for only $300, and that gets you a rear locker, which is a really good value, and also gives you some crawl control type programs. You can also get TRD Pro, which is $12,500, give or take, and that gives you everything. That gives you the skid plates, rigid brand fog lights, and Fox bypass shocks. Sound familiar? So basically, if you wanted to totally deck out your Tacoma, you could. This one just doesn't have it, and frankly, if it was my dollars buying a Tacoma, I would go for that TRD off-road package for just $300. Gets you a lot of stuff. I don't think I need all the rest of it, but it's nice to know that if you really want to go off-road, Toyota will sell you the goods. All right, so we've driven them on-road, we've driven them off-road, but now I think it is time for us to pick a winner. But I think we should go through a few more mud holes first before we decide, don't you think?
I agree with this plan.
So we've driven these trucks on the highway, we've driven them on city streets, and now we've driven them on some off-road trails. And I think we've already answered the biggest question.
Both of these trucks are perfectly capable of replacing a full-size truck. They're both as big as a 1990s full-size, they'll pull as much as one of those.
The towing capacity of the Ford Ranger when properly equipped is 6,500 pounds, 6,400 to be exact, and that's enough to tow a single car trailer, a pretty decent camper, a fishing boat, all the stuff that most people, regular people, actually do tow. I mean, if you're looking to tow really big trailers, these aren't going to cut it. They are small vehicles, but the point is that for daily use, they're more than capable. They'll fit 4 people comfortably, 5 in a pinch, and I actually found that the smaller size of the mid-sized truck is actually an asset in the city where most full-size trucks are just too big. But now it's time to answer the other question. Which of these two trucks is the winner of the comparison?
It's a tough call, to be honest. They're both excellent platforms. Toyota has a tried and true product. It's been around for a long time now, and we know that they hold up. The Ranger here is a new platform, but as we've seen, it's a formidable competitor to the Tacoma here. The Ranger here does have its drawbacks. You know, the interior feels rather plasticky like a Ford Focus. The Tacoma, while also plasticky, feels like it will stand up a lot better. The Ranger here has superior technology. The Tacoma is feeling dated.
Lane keep assist isn't as good as it would be in the Ranger. Some other stuff like that is showing its age, especially in terms of like displays of the infotainment system. They're not as modern, shall we say, as what you'll find in the Ranger. In a lot of areas, there's a clear-cut winner. Like, we both agree that we like the Toyota Tacoma's interior better, and we both agree that as equipped, the Ranger is the more capable off-road, although you can get TRD Pro with this if you spend the money. But one area in which we really disagree was the drivetrain. See, I like the strong turbo boost and the low highway cruising afforded by the turbo 4-cylinder and the 10-speed automatic, where Elliot, you were more partial to the V6 here in the Toyota.
I was. The naturally aspirated V6 gives you a far more linear torque curve, and as old as this automatic transmission may be, it's always there when you need it. It's only got 6 gears to shift through. This, the 10-speed, great as it may be for towing and cruising, it's got a lot of gears to downshift. If you're using this as a highway commuter and you're going to want to put your foot down and overtake someone, there's a solid lag before it actually finds the gear that it's going to launch you in. When it does, and that boost kicks in, fantastic, it goes. But the thing is, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, it's a long time to wait when you're in a hurry.
It's it's got to go down through like 4 different gears, whereas, you know, here you're only 3 gears away from where you want to be. But now it comes down to it. If you could park one of these 2 trucks in your driveway, which one would it be?
Having them for the week, the Ranger has been a lot of fun. It's big, it's colorful, it's got these great red accents. I love the green on the Tacoma, but this thing just looks a blast. At the end of the day though, the logical answer is the Tacoma here. This is a truck we know has lasted and will last. It feels good on the road, it's far more comfortable. If you're looking for lifestyle, the Ranger here is a blast. If you're looking for something to last a lifetime though, I really think the Tacoma is where it's at.
And I think that's what it comes down to. You know, we can't pick a winner based on equipment because you can just buy more equipment in these trucks. These trucks both have 6 different versions, so the Ranger as equipped does have more some things that the Tacoma doesn't right now, but you could just buy a package and you can get it. We can't pick a winner based on price because, well, this costs less than the Ranger, but you could also just make a Ranger cost less. And throughout the trims, the prices between the two, they're like this. Some cost more, some cost less. So really we're coming down to picking the winner based on the bones of the truck. The stuff you can't change, the structure of the interior, the layout, the drivetrain, things that you can't just option up or down. And in that respect, even though it's very old and is not a perfect product, I think we agree the winner is
the Toyota Tacoma.
Taste it, because dinosaurs are fun. We like them.
For Driving.ca, I'm Elliot Alder.
And I'm Clayton Seams. And don't forget to check us out online on Instagram and Twitter for more pickup truck reviews and information.